This is Alpha. Let's continue our conversation from last time. How to understand the current ups and downs of the U.S. stock market. Trump and the Project 2025. This is a comprehensive policy and administrative reform program to reshape the U.S. federal government, strengthen the president's control over the executive branch, and promote the policies of right-wing conservatives. The core document is a 900-page policy guide to be released in April 2023. The program is organized around 4 pillars. Pillar 1, Policy Agenda. The goal is to provide detailed policy recommendations for the next conservative president, covering all major federal agencies. The main contents are as follows. First, immigration and border security. This policy is intended to strengthen border enforcement and complete the construction of the U.S.-Mexico border wall. Reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy, restrict asylum applications, push for large-scale deportations of illegal immigrants and abolish visa categories for some victims. Second point, administrative state reform. Cutting back on the power of the federal bureaucracy. Repeal the diversity DI policy and end the CRT program on critical race theory. Fire federal bureaucrats and replace them with conservatives loyal to the president. Third, social and family policies. Emphasizes the structure of the traditional family and opposes gender fluidity and LGBT rights. Eliminate federal funding for gender confirmation surgeries and ban transgender people from serving in the military. Restrict transgender women from participating in women's sports and promote anti-abortion policies. Suggestions to revoke FDA approval of abortion pills and ban mailing of abortion-related supplies. Fourth, education reform. Decentralize its functions to state or local governments. Promote school choice and support private schools. Ban the teaching of critical race theory or gender ideology in public schools and restore traditional values education. Fifth, economy and energy. Deregulating fossil fuels and withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement. Cut government spending, reduce inflation, simplify the tax system, encourage energy independence, and stop working with NGOs that promote climate change. Sixth point, judiciary and law enforcement. Reform the Justice Department to ensure it is accountable to the president. Investigating activist prosecutors who expanded the death penalty to include certain non-murder crimes. Authorizes Secret Service to conduct law enforcement outside of Washington, D.C. Point 7. Defense and nuclear policy. Prioritize the development of nuclear weapons and increase the scale of nuclear weapons. Withdraw from some arms control treaties and abolish the Department of Defense's DI program. Reinstate soldiers who were discharged for refusing COVID-19 vaccine. Ban on including climate change in national security threat assessments. 8th, reform the medical system. Cuts to food aid and some early education. 9. Eliminate climate and sustainability references in nutrition guidelines. 10th, strengthen monitoring of abortion activities at the state level and promote pro-life policies. The second pillar is personnel recruitment. The goal is to provide a conservative government with loyal talent to replace the existing federal bureaucracy. This includes establishing a national talent pool to recruit some conservative fighters into the government. Screen and train candidates who are loyal to conservative ideology, plan to replace thousands of career civil servants, and abolish traditional civil service protection mechanisms. The third pillar is the training program. The goal is to transform potential government workers into effective conservative managers through online courses and expert guidance. Pillar 4. 180-day transition plan. The goal is to provide the new government with a concrete action plan for the first 180 days to ensure that policies are implemented quickly. Develop detailed implementation steps for each federal agency. Priorities include undoing Biden administration policies, such as DI-related measures. Strengthen border security and reduce regulation. Through a general understanding of the content of Project 2025, we found that while Trump tried to distance himself from Project 2025 during his 2024 campaign, but we can see from the policies he has implemented since taking office in his second term that the policies he implemented are highly consistent with this plan. Moreover, some of the main authors of this plan became important members of Trump's policy team after he was elected. For example, Board czar Thomas Douglas Holman, CIA boss John Lee Ratcliffe, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr, and trade advisor Peter Navarro, who has had a heated exchange with Musk. Next, let's study the core economic propositions in the Project 2025. The first point is the reconstruction of the tax system. The Project 2025 calls for a further reduction in the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15%, while abolishing inheritance tax and capital gains tax. This policy continues the core logic of Trump's 2017 tax reform. That is, reduce corporate taxes to stimulate investment. It is worth noting that the plan proposes to establish a two-tier personal income tax system. A flat tax rate of 12% on households earning less than $75,000 a year. The high-income group is subject to a 28% tax rate. This design appears to be universal in nature. However, combined with supporting measures such as the abolition of capital gains tax, the overall tax burden of high net worth individuals will be significantly reduced. That means cutting taxes for businesses and the rich. This policy has a positive impact on the financial market. Second, the energy industry expansion strategy. The plan calls for increasing U.S. crude oil production to 3 million barrels per day. To this end, it plans to open up oil and gas exploration activities in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and revoke the Biden administration's restrictions on methane emissions. Energy policy and economic strategy are deeply bound together. Besant's three-point plan explicitly links energy production growth to GDP growth targets. Every additional 1 million barrels of crude oil production per day can create 200,000 jobs. This resource-driven growth model attempts to replicate the success of the shale oil and gas revolution, but may intensify conflicts with traditional energy transition policies. What we can see is, energy policies have a significant impact on the performance of related oil and gas stocks. As oil and gas prices hit bottom, opportunities for these stocks may be emerging. Third, the monitoring system is systematically loosened. The regulatory reform plan led by Loswater proposed a quantitative standard of 4 old regulations must be abolished for every new regulation. Focus on environmental protection, financial supervision and labor protection. In the financial sector, it is recommended to relax the capital adequacy requirements for small and medium-sized banks and establish a regulatory exemption list for cryptocurrencies. This deregulatory policy is consistent with Trump's first-term policy, but its systematicness and intensity have been significantly improved. The above are the core propositions of the economic policy of the Project 2025. The radical reform stance it demonstrates not only inherits the theoretical heritage of the supply-side school, but also reflects the realistic considerations of populist politics. Its policy mix could stimulate economic growth in the short term. However, the uncertainty brought about by institutional changes will reshape the model of U.S. economic governance. Against the backdrop of increasing global economic differentiation, the effectiveness of the plan depends not only on domestic political games. It will also face the test of the reconstruction of the international economic order. Policymakers need to strike a balance between economic growth and risk management to avoid major economic turmoil. Through the above analysis of Trump and the source of his policies, we can understand such a Trump. The strong tendency towards power centralization and individualism seems to want to portray oneself as a savior. The firm stance of cultural conservatism and the religious right, with obvious xenophobic and nationalist tendencies. There is also a confrontation with the existing political system and a desire to completely reshape the American political order. We can clearly see a governance path with clear goals but a bumpy process. Although the goal is ambitious and beautiful, it does not mean that you can get what you want. We are all human, including Trump. This drama has just begun, and it will affect every corner of the world and every person, no matter what the future results are. After understanding the above information, we will not be too surprised by what happens in the future, nor will we let our investments lie on some known huge risks. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you for your company. Personal perspective, for reference only. The level is limited, please think critically.